afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Silicon Valley Clean Energy launch. Let me introduce myself. I'm Jeannie Bruins, a council member from the city of Los Altos, and also a board member for Silicon Valley Clean Energy, and I'm going to be your host this afternoon. Isn't this an absolutely gorgeous day? I don't think we could ask for anything better than launching a clean energy program, having this much sun and enough breeze kicking through here. So what I'd like to do is start by recognizing some of the folks that have come out this afternoon. And a lot of these are our electeds. And I'm going to ask if everyone could stand when I call your name. So from the city of Campbell, we have Mayor Liz Gibbons, who is also a member of our board. From the city of Cupertino, we have Mayor Suvita Vaidyanathan, as well as Council Member Rod Sinks, who is also a member of our board. And Rod Sinks is standing up here on the iPad.
Hi, Rod. We miss you.
From the town of Los Gatos, we have Mariko Sayak, who's an alternate on our board. From Morgan Hill, we have Mayor Steve Tate, who's also on our board. From the city of Mountain View, we have our board member and council member, Margaret Abikoga. There you are, Margaret. And John McAllister, who's an alternate to our board. City of Saratoga, we have Mayor Emily Lowe, who's an alternate to our board. Where are you, Emily? There you are in the back, okay. And we also have council member Howard Miller, who is our board member. From the city of Sunnyvale, we have council member and board alternate Nancy Smith. And we have council member Russ Melton. So thank you all the electeds for coming. These are our electeds from the cities who are participating in Silicon Valley Clean Energy. Just over 2 years ago, the cities of Sunnyvale, Cupertino, Mountain View, and Santa Clara County all pulled together to conduct a study to determine the feasibility of providing a community choice energy. They showed a great deal of leadership. These 4 founding communities really got the ball rolling. And if it weren't for their effort, we would not have formed Silicon Valley Clean Energy Authority, which is a JPA. We are grateful for their leadership. And then each of the councils had an opportunity to step up to the plate. Starting in the middle of December of 2015 through to March of 2016, each of the cities and the county voted to join this effort. Those communities include the unincorporated segments of the county: Campbell, Cupertino, Gilroy, Los Altos, Los Altos Hills, Los Gatos, Montecito, Morgan Hill, Mountain View, Saratoga, and Sunnyvale. And I want to thank all of the councils for joining us in this endeavor. So we have a few speakers this afternoon, and so I'd like to introduce Rob Rennie. Rob is the Los Gatos Vice Mayor, and he is serving this year as our board chair. Welcome, Rob.
Thank you, Jeannie. I think even if it was raining, it would be a very bright day today. As Jeannie said, I'm Rob Rennie from Los Gatos, and I'd like to thank everybody for attending today, and I'd also like to especially thank our CEO, Tom Hibashi, who for his ability at architecting and building a financially sustainable Silicon Valley clean energy organization that will not only deliver clean energy, but will withstand any future challenges. His expertise and experience with Palo Alto's utility and his time as CEO of Roseville Electric has been critical to his success to bringing us to this point of realizing our dream on turning on 100% carbon-free electricity to the power users of Santa Clara County. I would also like to thank the very capable borrowed staff from the 4 cities that originally kicked off this idea. I think it is very appropriate that we are holding our kickoff in Cupertino, one of the original 4 that invested in the idea. So why is this so exciting? For many years, our communities have been working on climate action plans, but finding it difficult to make significant greenhouse gas reduction. There's only so much energy you can save in buildings. Silicon Valley Clean Energy, by utilizing renewable, clean, carbon-free, reduces approximately 1/4 of our region's carbon emissions from electricity. This is a huge leap forward. It also reduces vehicle greenhouse gas emissions from electrical vehicles. Currently, we plug in our electric cars, and the electricity to charge it has a significant portion of carbon still in it. Now that we've started delivering power, you will be able to plug in, and we will buy for you electricity that is 100% carbon-free, making your electric vehicle truly greenhouse gas-free. In the future, we can also further reduce greenhouse gases from buildings by promoting the conversion of gas appliances to electric. By considering PG&E's current carbon content and the 3,600 gigawatt hours of electricity forecast to be used by our customers in 2018, we will remove 1.2 billion pounds of carbon annually. Equally important, our purchase of significantly higher quantities of renewable energy than PG&E would have bought for our customers will stimulate the energy market to build significantly more renewable energy. It is simple marketplace supply and demand. If we increase demand for renewables, supply will increase for renewables and decrease for dirty carbon. I am proud and excited to be part of this leadership role of our community that our community is stepping into. We are raising the bar for cleaner and more prosperous future for our children and our planet.
We had another council member join us, and I want to welcome Courtney Corrigan from the town of Los Altos Hills. So next, I'm going to ask Bruce Carney to come up. Bruce is the president of Carbon Free Silicon Valley. This is a passionate grassroots environmental advocacy group that's all about reducing our carbon footprint through aggressive greenhouse gas reductions. This group has its origins in the city of Mountain View, and they've recently expanded to focus on the counties of Santa Clara and San Mateo. So welcome, Bruce.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak to you today. This is a very proud moment for many of us, and particularly so for those of us in the grassroots movement who've been working for 4 years to make this day a reality. There's a quote that I read as I was preparing that I think is very appropriate. First, things seem impossible, then improbable, and then when we summon the will, they become inevitable. I think that if we look into the future of energy, we will discover that by the year 2100, everything is electric, and all of the electricity comes from carbon-free sources. There's no doubt about this. This is inevitable, and today is a major step in the accomplishment of that inevitability. No conversation about carbon-free energy in Silicon Valley would be complete without acknowledging the roles of some of the pioneering environmentalists and volunteers. The organization I am now proud to be the leader of was founded by 2 of them, Cherie Walkowiak and John Scarborough. They met in their children's schools. Their children are about 8 or 9 years old now. And Cherie had read that if we didn't take serious action to reduce greenhouse gas emissions over a 10-year span, her children would not grow up to have a livable climate. And this spurred her to an action and a vision. And her vision was for Mountain View to have 100% greenhouse gas-free electricity by the year 2020. And I'm thrilled that this has been accomplished 3 years ahead of her goal. In addition to Cherie and John, I personally have to thank Al Gore for making the movie An Inconvenient Truth. I and millions of others saw that movie and understood for the first time the enormity of the challenge that faces us. One of the things that I did as a result was enrolling in a climate leadership program offered by the Palo Alto nonprofit Actera. And Debbie Meitels and Michael Clausen and Adam Stern are all here from that organization. I want to thank them for helping me learn how to be an effective leader. The march toward Silicon Valley Clean Energy didn't start in Mountain View, though. It started in Sunnyvale with the Environmental Commission that Sunnyvale has established. And although I have not attended meetings of that group, it's my understanding that Barbara Fukumoto, Jerry Glazer, Margaret Okazumi, and James Talea are among the leaders of that group. And if I've left anyone out, I apologize. But kudos to Sunnyvale for getting this ball rolling. By far the most active grassroots group in Silicon Valley is Greentown Los Altos. Greentown Los Altos has been around for years and years. They have even found the money to have a paid executive director, and when they hold meetings, they get dozens and dozens of Los Altos and Los Altos Hills residents involved. So I'd like to thank in particular Gary Hedden, who has been my liaison to that group, and Don Bray, who is now a member of the staff of Silicon Valley Clean Energy. None of us would be standing here today if Marin Clean Energy had not pioneered the notion of community choice energy in California. And again, I don't know all of the players who are involved in that, but certainly Don Weiss, the current general manager of Marin Clean Energy, and Sean Marshall, the director of Lean Energy US, deserve a shout out. It was Sean Marshall who came to a Santa Clara County League of Cities meeting 3 years ago and helped convince the elected officials that this was a real benefit to the communities that are represented here today. So a round of applause, please, for those pioneers. I'd like to call out the staff members, the founding staff members, if you will, by name. As has already been mentioned, 4 cities got involved early, and so Steve Attinger from the city of Mountain View, Melody Tovar from Sunnyvale, Demetra McBride, and later Kevin Armstrong from the county, and Aaron Cook from the city of Cupertino were key early participants. Last but not least, I would like to thank the early pioneers among the elected officials, Jim Griffith, Rod Sinks, who I see on an iPad before me, Margaret Abe Koga and John McAllister, and Daniel Harney, who had the difficult job of getting Gilroy to decide to become part of this organization, and I'm very happy that he was able to accomplish that. So briefly, what next for carbon-free Silicon Valley? We've accomplished a wonderful thing, but more needs to be done, and it needs to be done quickly. So we hope that cities will commit to reducing their greenhouse gas emissions by 40% by the year 2025 compared to the benchmark or baseline years that they've set. For some cities, that's 2005. For others, it's a different year. That's going to be harder. We've plucked the low-hanging fruit, and I hope that the cities realize that the commitment slope gets ever steeper as we try to reduce greenhouse gases more and more and more through electrification of heating, through electrification of vehicles, and other technologies. Finally, I'm very happy to say that this is a public organization. This is all of our energy provider. The board of directors are among the most forward-thinking people in our communities. They're all available to you. There are alternate directors who are also available to talk to share your ideas with, and I hope that everyone will step up and take advantage of those opportunities. The board meetings are open to the public. I've attended most of them, and frankly, the number of people here today exceeds the number who've attended all the board meetings in the last 2 years. We need more community involvement. You can do that through Carbon-Free Silicon Valley. You can do it through your city councils. You can do it through directly contacting members of the staff here or members of the board. Last but not least, I want to quote Al Gore, who at the end of An Inconvenient Truth reminded us that political will is a renewable resource, but it is also a perishable resource. If we don't renew our commitment to renewable energy every year every month, every day, it will fade. So please join me in committing to a renewable energy future.
Thank you, Bruce. Next, I would like to introduce Daniel Harney. Daniel is a board member. He is vice chair of the board this year, and he was the passionate person down in Gilroy to help bring on the Gilroy team as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here today. It seems like a very long journey, but that journey for Gilroy only started 14 months ago when a select few individuals came down to Gilroy City Council to present the idea of clean energy and becoming part of the Joint Partners Authority. Silicon Valley has a deep rooting in innovation and leadership and helping solve some of the world's most difficult problems and most challenging situations. And so it only made sense to Gilroy to be part of a community problem and finding a community solution which affects all of us, affects our children and grandchildren. The focus on Silicon Valley is bringing diversity of thought and diversity of leadership to solving those problems. And that really is the fabric of Silicon Valley. When we formed Silicon Valley Clean Energy, we wanted to make sure that we offered that same diversity of thought to our customers. And if you think about that, that really makes sense. We have small cities, we have large cities, and we have cities all packed in between. Some with only several thousand residents, and some with hundreds of thousands of residents. In those cities, we have mom and pop businesses that provide essential services to the communities. We have large technology businesses such as Apple and research companies that provide solutions. And we also have agricultural businesses and food businesses that serve our communities. And so Silicon Valley helps solves a lot of those businesses' needs and community member needs. As Mr. Carney stated, many of us want to have clean energy options, and that's what Silicon Valley brings to all of us, whether we're individuals or whether we're businesses. And it brings that thought leadership and innovation to each of us, which is greener and cheaper, and all of us win. So thank you for your time. Thank you for being part of this historic day, and thanks for everyone's support in each of your communities.
And now I'd like to introduce Dave Cortez. As all of us probably know, Dave is president of the Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors, and he's also a member of our board.
Well, thank you so much for the warm welcome. And first thing I want to say is congratulations to everyone, because I really feel like I'm a messenger, not just a participant and a board member of Silicon Valley Clean Energy, but a messenger on behalf of the entire Board of Supervisors at Santa Clara County. You know, having been in elected office for a number of years and coming from a family that's been involved in politics for about 50 years in this valley, there's a tradition that you normally see, not in this case, that you normally see, where the county itself will convene cities within the county, will pull people together and say, let's go do something good. In this case, exactly the opposite happened, and we owe a debt of gratitude to all of you, all of the cities involved, for coming to the county and convening the county and saying this is something that you need to be involved in and something that's of mutual benefit to all of us. Thank you for doing that. For the county to enter into a joint powers authority is not a small issue. You know, we have to deal with issues just like you do at the city level and just like private sector folks do and nonprofits as well in terms of our own fiscal sustainability and how is this going to all work out. But at the end of that debate, the Board of Supervisors, of course, was all in. And I'm happy to be here today with this day finally coming to celebrate the fact that we're actually going to start bringing in some revenue. On the sustainability side, on the environmental side, I want to say that, you know, a little over 8 years ago when I got to the Board of Supervisors, the county did not even have environmental stewardship goals at all. We didn't have even one solar installation in the county. 8 years later, notwithstanding this effort, the county is poised to be one of the top 10 governments in the country in terms of renewable energy production and consumption. And we're proud of that, but this takes it to an all different level in terms of the consumption of our own residents in this county. You know, many of us get to work as a result of our full-time commitments at a regional government level. And it is so important whether you get to do work with the Air District in terms of air quality, or whether you get to do work with the Bay Conservation District in terms of climate change and what is happening to the Bay right now as we stand here in terms of sea level rise, or transportation planning in terms of reducing GHG and housing planning. All of those are revolving around, the success of which is revolving around our ability here, mostly in the South Bay, to do our fair share in terms of reducing GHG. Again, this takes us to an all new level. Thank you all for that. You know, a few days ago, maybe it was even yesterday, I don't know, there was a columnist in a daily newspaper who kind of called out the county for empire building. I don't know if that's true or not, but in terms of this JPA, if reducing GHG and getting all of our residents on 100% renewable energy is empire building, let's go build an empire. Thank you all very much.
Thank you to our speakers, and as you saw, we had 2 elected people representing all of the electeds who pulled together to show leadership in terms of moving forward with this program. We also heard from a member of the community who's shown leadership in terms of trying to help be a catalyst for a lot of this change. Now what I'd like to do is introduce somebody that's really important to all of us, and that is our CEO of Silicon Valley Clean Energy. So once you have a group of electeds who have this brilliant idea and want to move forward, everybody who is an elected knows that we don't do all the heavy lifting. We might vote for these things and support these things, but it is through an outstanding staff that we're able to get things done. And at the top of our staff is our CEO, Tom Hibachi. And so I would like to introduce Tom, have him come forward. I think Tom's going to say a few words first.
I'll make this really, really quick. I didn't have a speaking role, but I do want to acknowledge some of the folks that have worked tirelessly behind the scenes in order to bring this day about. And I want to start with the one that started on this sometime in 2010, and that's Melody Tovar of Sunnyvale. She was a terrific support all the way, and actually still working with us for the last couple of months to do additional work that we need to get done. Also, we have from Mountain View, I believe Patty Kong is here, and she worked with us and helped us work on the financial side. From the city of Cupertino, I believe Misty is out on vacation. She worked on customer communication side, and we have Dave here, who's I want to thank him personally because he's probably responsible for bringing me to this fun that I'm having for the past 10 months. I think he was behind bringing me about or hiring me to this position. And last but not least is Kevin Armstrong. He was a terrific guy to work with. He's with the county of Santa Clara. I want to acknowledge all those 4 members. I also want to acknowledge some of the vendors that worked with us, and they are great partners, and all of them are still with us. We have Drake from Calpine Solutions is right here, and Sean Marshall couldn't be here. She's from Lean Energy, but she was definitely the spark that got this organization going. And PEA, which is Pacific Energy Advisors, they're also not here. They work out of Sacramento. but they are behind all the work that was done to do the power purchases. Oh, I'm sorry, they're right here. I apologize. Looks like I got John and Kirby right back here. They've been working on this even before I came on board, and they're still working on it, and I'm planning on having them keep on working with us for some time to come. And finally, my favorite banker of all times, Rosa Kuchichia from River City Bank. They've been really great to work with. I want to acknowledge them all and thank him and appreciate you all coming here today. Thank you. And now to the
Okay.
big moment.
So yes, now to the big moment. We are turning on our first batch of customers, which is approximately 68,000 residents and businesses amongst the 12 jurisdictions. And what I'm going to do is let's do a countdown, okay? From 10. Ready? From 10. No, we're going to go 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And for those of you that may not have noticed, keeping in the spirit of what we are all about, to the bottom left of this of this display is a solar panel with a battery behind it that was charged by the sun, which now produced the light that you saw before you. So as I said, what we have begun now is 68,000 businesses and residents who are coming online this month. Our remaining 180,000 will be enrolled in the month of July. Because of the great leadership and the work that has been done amongst with our CEO at the helm here, we have accelerated that. So we compressed our rollout because we had a lot of feedback from customers wanting to get started sooner. As was stated earlier, that we are providing 100% carbon-free electricity to the grid. We're sourcing 3,600 gigawatt hours to be consumed by our customers, and thus removing 1.2 billion pounds of carbon annually from customer electricity use. And that is equivalent to 150,000 cars taken off our street. So this actually concludes our program. And what I'd like to do is invite everybody to stay and join us for some refreshments back here. I'm going to ask that all of my colleagues on the board and board alternates to come up because this is our opportunity for a group photo. And again, to thank everybody for coming out here and joining us for this great moment. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.